I loved it. We are exactly where we're supposed to be.
I don't think inviting a fascist in the White House is necessary to have conversation, but since that's where we're at, I'm glad. I'm glad that we are having these conversations.
I wish more of our elected officials would be that way, would be unapologetic in the way that they move and the decisions that they make.
He's palatable to the people who voted for him, no matter where they came from.
Tonight, we continue the conversation we started in November of 2024 as we speak again with members of our Black Voters Forum, a year into President Donald Trump's second term in office. The conversations you're about to see were filmed in February 2026, and as we all know, significant political events have taken place between then and now. Although those events won't be reflected in tonight's episode, the feelings and opinions you will hear expressed are no less relevant. We begin this conversation reflecting on these voters' answers from 2024, when I asked their thoughts on the critical nature of the 2024 presidential election. We joined them inside the Stable Gray Content Parlor on 45th Street in North Omaha. Critical. Was it different? Any thoughts on that?
I loved it. We are exactly where we're supposed to be in regard to the results that we've gotten or that we were going to get anyway, So critical in regard to forcing our people, and particularly Black people, to think it's the best thing that could have happened to us.
I wouldn't say it was the best thing that happened for us. Like I said, being a full-time employee at an immigrant serving organization, I've seen firsthand the impacts that the decisions of this administration has been having on people. But I do agree in the fact that we've been having more open and transparent conversations and also being forced to develop our own opinions, hopefully by doing our own research. I still don't know that we've gotten there yet, though.
Like I said last year, or 2024 isn't any more different or critical than any other election we've had in the Black community, because our particular plight has been the same in this country, regardless who's been in office. Here we are. It is what it is. I don't think inviting a fascist in the White House is necessary to have conversation, but since that's where we're at, I'm glad that we are having these conversations.
I've never really felt oppressed in this country as an American. And that's from any time I can remember throughout my years as an American. And so right now I feel like there's more liberty than we may have ever had in this country at any time. And I think that applies to all of us, no matter what your skin tone is. I'm for American citizens though, and I understand, her work in the community and the people she helping, but it's an audit right now. You here illegally, it's your turn. You getting caught up. If you scared, you should be. But if I commit a petty crime, I'm going to jail. And it ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And separation and all that stuff is just going to happen to me and my family. So, and that's because I made a choice. Well, now what's fortunately happening, I feel like we're making a correction.
When you think about Trump's first year in the second presidency, what's the first word that comes to mind? One word, and we'll start here.
Forceful.
Foundational.
Winning.
Shit show.
Gangster.
Gangster, a word and label with many implications, rarely positive. But Kazem Shabazz uses the term to describe a way of being, meaning a boldness that he himself can relate to, something he is known for in person and on social media. Right now, I want to read to you one of your Facebook posts, if I may. So, Black America has long known this side of America. Maybe the reality on camera will shift the thinking of enough white America to finally move this country in a different direction. Maybe, in quotes. Black folk are empathetic, but just about numb, because what is being brought to light for everyone else to see is and has been our norm. The lies, the injustice, the discrimination, the down talk, and the downplay. Accountability on their end has been a part of their criteria. Interesting twist of events over the last year, especially for the Black man to process. I guess for us being able to witness others tied to various forms of oppression that they themselves thought they were exempt from, but to now actually witness the entitlement slowly slip away, you are all finding out that the ruthlessness and severity of what we have endured here on this continent, and far worse than what you're experiencing now, I honestly think they are just now getting started. So I want to know from your viewpoint, who is they, and what exactly do you think is next if this is just the start?
Both white America and the immigrants that come over here, legal and illegal, individually, but as races and tribes of Africans come over here to succeed, they look down upon us, Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, and they don't understand what we've endured and what we've encountered and what we've actually been through on this continent, and we've been made fun of by them, particularly for a very long time. And so now they're experiencing the ruthlessness that is not safe for anybody. And this is just the true nature of America expressing herself. And then as far as the European go in this country, I have to say the same. They too thought they were exempt. In so many ways, the sense of entitlement, you have the No Kings rally, beat on your chest version of the Caucasian, right? And then you have the Caucasian that's for this particular administration, the Caucasian that's for this particular Trump administration. They're safe. This is everything that we're going through right now is in favor of them, right? And then you have the other version that I talked about, that I spoke on. They're the ones that's in the crossfire and the hairs. But even with them, they too are in a state of shock because they didn't realize that, just from them being, Caucasian and stuff like that, that their lives too are at stake in this, in the state of being that we're in now.
Now, you did tell me that you didn't vote for either candidate in the presidential election. We're a year into this presidency. A lot of people view it as, extremely violent, just extreme in all sorts of ways. Do you regret not voting for the president in 2024? Why or why not?
No, I don't regret it at all. Malcolm said that if it didn't look like you needed it to, then withhold your vote. You see what I'm saying? So I have that whatever power or that ability to whatever's given to me to withhold my vote. So no, I don't regret it, because had Kamala got it or Trump got it, we was either going to go far left or far right, and neither one of them fit my personal agenda in the way that I look at things through the God that I serve.
Following the break, we hear more from our Black Voters Forum. Do politicians have a responsibility to represent all of their constituents, or just those that voted to place them in office? We also get to hear from Shamika Simpson on why she believes it's time for women to lead. This is the Dreamland Report.
What's up, folks? I'm Marcel Cox, the owner and one of the creative minds behind some of the most cutting-edge haircuts you've ever seen. I believe in pushing boundaries and giving our clients a fresh, modern look that matches their personality. It's all about self-expression and leaving with a style that makes them stand out. That's the magic we create here at Modern Image Barber Company.
Hey there, I'm Rachel, and I've been perfecting my craft for almost a decade. I love creating classic, timeless, modern styles that make our customers feel their best. It's not just about the cut, it's about the connection we make with each person who sits in our chair. That's what makes this barbershop so special.
Hey guys, I'm Fresh. I've been giving clean cuts at Modern Image Barber Company for about 3 years. I love walking in on a day-to-day basis because our customers are like family to me.
As of May 6, 2026, President Donald Trump has signed 259 executive orders. Across both of his terms so far, he has totaled 479 executive orders. This is the 10th most executive orders issued by any president in American history. Orders eliminating DEI initiatives in government, the creation of the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, closing the Department of Education, revival of travel bans, These are just some of the controversial orders issued by President Trump. We rejoin our Black Voters Forum as they discuss the issue of palatability. Is it the role of the politician to find consensus once they reach office? Or do the ends truly justify the means?
But it seems to me the way that he went about things with this executive orders was him saying like, well, I'm answering a mandate. Like, this is what I ran on. These are the people who voted me in. This is what they want. Boom, I'm writing this up. When we talk about being palatable, I think it's really more so like, well, he's palatable to the people who voted for him, no matter where they came from. And clearly we know that people of all ethnicities voted for him. So, it wasn't like, oh, I need to seek to be palatable to this particular people group. It's like, no, I'm going to tell you what I'm running on. And like, if you like it, you're going to vote me in. And when you vote me in, I'm going to do that thing.
I wish more of our elected officials would be that way, would be unapologetic in the way that they move and the decisions that they make and do it based on what they have promised to us. I absolutely wish we had that more. I think there's a clear history and background to why our representatives don't operate that way. I think we get reprimanded in a way that white counterparts don't. Or that conservative counterparts don't. And that could be a lack of accountability from the community. I think there's also very much a historical background to it. So I'm 50-50 on it. I wish we would do it. We would take that approach more, for sure.
I agree with that.
I think we are operating off of the lowest vibration possible. And there is so much more we could be doing as human beings to help each other and our world be a safe place, be a place where we can commune and welcome the immigrant to our borders, welcome the poor into a space that isn't oppressive. As a person who is not a Christian or a Muslim or belonging to any Abrahamic religion, also as a person that doesn't think men should be running this thing, I really feel that we need to put more women in places of leadership so that there can be more things like empathy and compassion instead of this hard line of it needs to be the way I voted for or the way I want it to be, when we all have to share this planet.
But what does it really mean to share this world when it seems that one half of the population holds all the power? As of early 2025, women made up only 28% of the U.S. Congress, a record for our nation. In our 2024 Black Voter Forum, Shamika Simpson spoke passionately about the involuntary transition of social and economic power from men to women and its impact on today's politics. She sees this administration and its supporters as a continuation of men's effort to subjugate women into what they believe are acceptable roles in society. We joined Shamika at the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation on 34th and Evans in North Omaha to hear more. Some of the things that you were mentioning in that conversation?
Oh, yes. Women have been living too loudly, too freely. We're having too much of a good time. And the patriarchy does not like that. Capitalism does not like that. And it's so funny because this whole system is based off of women's free labor, women's emotional labor, women's even physical labor. And so therefore, it's not a matter of even our rights that they're taking away. They want to keep their place in society, and they need women to be in a certain space to do that. And it's the same for every marginalized group. If you are not upholding the status quo, then they consider you a threat. And so now women are on the front lines as a threat in this country. I've raised my daughters to be independent. I let them literally know you are made of the same divine goddesshood and godhood that everything else on this planet was made of. I'm really putting my energy into building the world that I want to see for my children. So that just goes back to making sure, once again, that not only do my daughters know, but every woman I'm in contact know that they're powerful, know that they are loved, know that they have purpose outside of just what a man thinks they're supposed to be doing, and that it's their job to stand up. It's our job to reclaim our power, to claim our place. It's our job to be courageous in these moments.
When we return, We speak with Executive Director of the Nebraska Democratic Party, Precious McKesson, to learn more about the tone Democrats are taking in response to the Trump administration. We also hear from Joshua Harris Till on his role at the newly formed Black in Action Collective, an organization whose mission is to build and protect Black political power in Nebraska. This is the Dreamland Report.
Big Mama's Kitchen is serving up our famous soul food from Tuesday to Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Our famous seasonings are on sale now. Bring the flavor home. Big Mama's Caters. Let us cater your next event. And don't miss our Heat and Eat Sunday suppers. Taste the love and let Big Mamas do the cooking for you.
Skyrocketing into the national spotlight after making history as the first woman and first African American to cast an electoral ballot for a Democrat in Nebraska, Precious McKesson has established herself as a political force for progressive ideas and democratic principles. Unafraid to challenge the norms in her own party, she stepped into her role as the executive director of the Nebraska Democratic Party with a vision for the future. We met with her at her Omaha office to hear why civility seems to be taking a back seat to a more aggressive public stance. I want to bring up one of the posts you made on February 6th. You posted on Facebook, quote, 2 middle fingers emojis to Donald Trump and his administration. Then on February 10th, I got an email from Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader in the House of Representatives, and it was titled, Donald Trump.
Yeah, wow.
So talk to me about the tone that Democrats are taking right now and what that kind of means for the society we're in.
Well, number one, I did not know about Congressman Hakeem Jeffries sending that email. I would just say, I woke up and just watching the news, and I was just frustrated, like tired. And I just think now is like 2 middle fingers to Donald Trump, his administration, and his supporters. Like, because of everything that he continued to do, it's like, it's an attack on democracy. And it's frustrating because you want to push back, but you can't because you have so many people who continue to support the things that this man is doing. So I think overall the Democrats are tired. And, so many people keep saying, well, why all we keep hearing is the Democrats cussing? Well, damn. We don't have control of the House, the Senate, or the White House. So all we can do is cuss at this point because so many people are continuing to let them do this. So I just think we're just frustrated. But not only are we frustrated, we're mobilized. And I don't think a lot of people know, since Donald Trump has been elected to office, any of the special elections, which I think we've had over 50, maybe now over 60 special elections, we have run the majority of those. I think we've maybe run like 95% of special elections. So people are seeing the change, and people are seeing like it's time to make the change. So we continue to mobilize in those areas when we have elections, like in new mayors being elected, special elections and special seats and state houses. That's where we're putting our energy toward, because we know what's going on nationally. We can fight fire with fire, but we got to start hitting what's happening locally. So I think that's where we've kind of shifted our energy, and that's what we're kind of focused on now, because we know these midterms are crucial.
We reached out to the Nebraska Republican Party to hear their thoughts on these same issues, but did not hear back. As of today, there is no Black Republican leadership listed on the state party site that we could have spoken to. So we sought out an organization recently formed with a crucial local mission to build and protect Black political power in Nebraska. At the time of filming, Joshua Harris Till was hired on to help shape Black in Action Collective's organizational structure and strategy. Coming to Nebraska from Oklahoma with familial ties to Emmett Till, Joshua has a long career of power building. We sit down with him at the Revive Center on the corner of 24th and Lake in North Omaha. Politics has a language of its own, and I think that often can miss some of our voters, some of our Black community. So if you can make it as plain as possible for us, what is independent Black-led political power, and how do we know when we have achieved it?
For sure. What we're here to do is to, one, get rid of the false notion that your vote doesn't matter. Nobody goes around telling people their vote doesn't matter. Everybody says that, or has heard someone say, my vote doesn't matter, right? If that was the case, then they wouldn't be trying to put all of these barricades in front of you getting to the voting booth. The second part of that is education on how to actually have conversations with elected officials to make sure that they're representing the community. I had the opportunity to work for Congressman Dan Boren. This is back in like 2013, and it was during the Affordable Care Act. And we lived in a Democratic district, and the district supported the Affordable Care Act, and they assumed that he was going to vote in favor of it. The office, because Republicans organized around it, got 10,000 plus calls saying to vote against it. And so him listening to the district said, okay, well, if this is what the people want, this is what I'll do. All of the people who were complacent saying, we have a Democrat, so he's going to do Democrat things, were a part of the problem, right? So when you get involved in the process, when you become aware of what's going on, and when you share your opinion on the good and the bad, then I think you have the independence that we're talking about. The organization's job is just to facilitate that. What I want to do is have a one-stop shop for people to understand what's going on, to know who represents them, to know who wants to represent them, and to know what jobs those people are supposed to be doing, who's doing it right, who's not, and who's best fit for it. I don't believe that we'll have, only Black elected officials, but why not? Right? It's about having the most qualified person in those positions, having the community represented in a way that actually speaks to the community and for the community in a way that they respect, and making sure that when the time comes to make hard decisions, that we are asked and consulted first before those decisions are made, instead of those decisions made against us. They're made with us.
And I know you're just a month into living here, but you've been to Nebraska before. You've worked here in the past. I wonder, in your conversations, are you starting to glean like what specific issues Black Omahans, Black Nebraskans are looking for solutions for?
I think there's a lot of solutions that are really important to specific groups of people. And I think there are overarching issues that are obviously significant to not just Black people, but the community as a whole. In terms of the unfortunate reality around inflation, what tariffs are doing, what's happening with the coal plant. These are all things that I think not only impact the Black community, but impact greater communities as a whole. But realistically speaking, the most significant issue that I hear coming from all of it is that the representation isn't holding up their end of the deal. You represent these people, you tell them to trust you, you say you have their best interests in mind, but then the actions don't follow up with it. And so when that happens, we have to make sure that the people understand the power that they have. We oftentimes hear people argue about term limits. I was like, well, limits already exist for every office. No office is just elected once and you get to stay there. All of these positions, whether it be the mayor, city council, the OPPD board, like all of them have terms, all of them have to rerun for elections. But how are you showing up in those moments? And how you show up in those moments dictate how they perform over the term. If they don't think that they have to answer to you, they think they answer to somebody else, and that's how they're going to react. So what can we do to get the people to say, all of the issues that you're talking about are extremely important, but the most important issue is that if you put the right person in office, if you're intentional on making them accountable, then you'll see a lot of those changes happen organically.
After our final break, we turn the Black Voter Forum's conversation back to local politics, where we hear voters' thoughts on how they are being represented right here in Omaha. This is the Dreamland Report. On Tuesday, May 12th, Nebraska voters will again head to the polls for midterm elections. Many believe that when it comes to how residents live out their daily lives, midterm elections are even more important than presidential elections. Local elected officials make decisions on the issues that directly impact housing, property taxes, state assistance like SNAP and WIC, and so much more. We hear what our Black Voter Forum has to say about those currently representing Nebraska, and one member issues a stern warning. I want to make it a little bit more local, and I'm going to use one of Kazim's posts from Facebook to do that. So I'm going to read it in its entirety. So on February 2nd, you made the following post. I'm a bit traumatized by the Black political landscape in North Omaha. Last time I gave my word and supported a candidate, it turned around and bit me right in the fanny. I'd be wanting to endorse my people so bad, but I'm so shook up, for lack of better words, by Blacks getting into these spaces and choking up. I don't know what to do. You find yourself asking all the right questions, and they seem to answer them seemingly well until they get their Black ass in those seats. Then all of a sudden, we Sambo, boss, is all the tune you hear. I will be exposing, challenging, and advocating this year that fit our best interests. Here's the catch, folks. They may not look like us. Stay woke. And so I want to hear from all of you about your sentiments on current Black political leadership locally. But I want to start with you first, just because I want to know who you were referring to.
I don't like Mayor Ewing. Right now, he's the main one. I'm trying to give somebody else a chance right now, so I'm not going to speak on that person, but I don't like the mayor.
Is there anything specific? Was this post about him?
It was a warning.
Okay.
Okay, because I have the ability to shake shit up, right? So it's a warning that we need more than photo ops.
Come on.
Okay.
It was imperative we followed up with Kazim to understand more about his apparent dissatisfaction, to uncover if there was more to the story. Give us a little bit more detail on how you're feeling about how his mayor, more on your thoughts there.
Yeah, he need to step to the system. You know, he made a comment to myself and others in the room. You know, up on me and Bud's situation, being pulled over by the rogue police officers, that himself and Schmatter, they were going to go back 100 years and see and compare what had happened to us to the community as a whole, and display that for the community to see and begin to turn things around. And then so there was a period of time that was given and it wasn't done. So this is one of the things that he said he wanted to do and that he said he would do and he didn't do. You know, when we
Was there any follow-up to that conversation? Have you reached back out since?
No, not since we put, you know, the city on notice that we want to see some accountability.
Precious McKesson offers a different perspective on Mayor John Ewing's performance in the first year. I wonder if you can talk a little bit about what you believe to be his successes here locally. You know, to be frank, there have been mixed reviews online, and this is, you know, this is all sourced, you know, anecdotally. It's not scientific by any means, but the conversation is still up in the air about his performance. So I wonder if you could talk to those audiences directly. What would you say about the performance that he's had so far and what we can expect?
Well, number one, I mean, everybody's going to have their critiques. Number one, I would say, you know, he had over 43 years of experience coming into this political. But I think he has to do that. He has to, that first year, he had to be in all those places because remember, even though he was voted in, there was still 60-something thousand people that did not vote for him, you know? So he has to then build those relationships. And so I just think he came into a tough part, especially with the streetcar. It was so much. And you had so many businesses who are upset because their businesses have lost so much money and different things. But I think he's doing everything he can to make those people and those businesses thrive still and trying to fix this. You know, people don't know, like we have national people that are coming in who are asking like, how did y'all do this? How are y'all going to do this? Being that we are a blue dot area, but we were ran by a red, you know, a Republican mayor.
Tonight, we've heard a diversity of opinions, But there's one opinion we haven't heard, yours. On Tuesday, May 12th, you have the opportunity to get out and make your voice heard. We know that voting isn't the be-all, end-all for how we create change in our community, but it is an awesome tool. This is your chance to be part of the change you want to see in your community. Get out, vote, and spread the word.